Anywhere you got stuck or did not understand? No. Okay. So for today, we're going to do the pedigree analysis once again, right? Because it was a little difficult at the end. So let us see. Let us quickly revise. So we know that the pedigree analysis process, it's just as equivalent to a family tree. Only the difference is here you're talking about the inheritance, right? The things, the traits that you're getting from one generation to another generation. So in the pedigree analysis, there are certain symbols used. The square, if it is not shaded or color, it represents the unaffected male. The circle, if it is not shaded or color, so that represents the unaffected female. The diamond shape represents the sex unspecified, when you don't know what is the sex of the offspring. And when these three are shaded, then that signifies the affected individual. Now, when a single line is shown in between a male and the female, that shows mating. And when two lines are shown, that shows the mating in between the relatives. Apart from that, there is also the like for example, first generation gives rise to the next generation. So in them, the order of the birth will be from left to right. So whichever organism will be made on the left, that organism will be like that person will be considered as the firstborn. And this one, it tells us that the parents with male child that is affected. And the last one, if the diamond shape has 5 written in it, like in the middle, that shows 5 unaffected offsprings. Meaning the offsprings are there, 5 of them are there. You don't know whether it is male or female offspring. And they are unaffected. Now, with the help of the pedigree analysis, you can study about how the traits are being inherited and how things happen like that. Now, moving forward, let us see. For example, now you people have to remember that if there are two affected people, the two affected parents are there and the offsprings that they have, so their offsprings would be at least the carrier. They will also be affected or they could be a carrier. But it's not possible that two affected people would have unaffected kids. Not possible. So, by pedigree analysis, one can easily understand whether the trait is autosomal dominant or whether it is recessive, right? Now, then other than that, what we also see that whether the trait is sex-linked, like whether it is coming from the female side or the male side, we're going to get that also. Now, in the case of recessive allele, they can, like the characteristic condition can appear in the progeny of unaffected parent if the allele is recessive. So later on, maybe it could be expressed in the homozygous form. Clear? Now, all in all, up until now, you people have seen that the diseases that are inherited are of 4 different types: autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, X-linked dominant, and X-linked recessive. Now, the autosomal dominant trait, first of all, can someone tell me the meaning of autosomal? Like, what is the difference between autosomal and X-linked? Hmm? Like, what is the basic difference?
It's like when a trait is from the like the gene is not on the sex chromosome, it's based on the number.
Not the number. In both the cases, it is about the chromosome only. Autosomes are the body cells, the body chromosomes, and allosomes, the sex chromosomes, are the allosomes or the X-linked. So, mostly the diseases are of these two types only if they are Mendelian disorders. Now, the tips to understand what is what. So, for example, if in any pedigree analysis, they will give you a chart, okay, and they will ask you to analyze whether the disease is autosomal, whether the disease is recessive, X-linked, whatever. You have to find out the nature.
Down.
Hmm? Saying something, Aisha?
Nothing.
Oh. So, in the pedigree analysis, you have to find out whether the disease that you're talking about or seeing the inheritance or studying about, whether that disease is dominant or recessive. First, you'll find out this thing. Whenever you get any flowchart of pedigree, what you will have to see whether it is dominant or recessive. Now, if it is dominant, how will you find out that it is dominant? If it is appearing in every generation. If it is appearing in the first generation, second generation, and third, meaning in all the different generations, if the offsprings are affected, like one or more affected individuals are present, then you will say that disease is dominant. You still don't know whether it is autosomal or X-linked, but now you know that it is dominant because it is appearing in every single generation. The diseased person is there. But if it's not present, like let's just say a diseased person, of male or female, was present in first generation and then in third generation, and the second generation has no affected individual, then that would tell you that this disease is recessive in its nature and not dominant. Clear? Now, if you want to see if it is sex linked or not, whether it is sex linked or whether it is this thing, autosomal. So, if in the pedigree analysis you are reading it and you're seeing that in the offspring all the females are affected and not the males, then that is X-linked. If you see that none of the females are affected but all the males are affected, then that is also X. Or another way to tell whether it is sex linked is that if the trait is being transmitted, like I'll write it, or crisscross inheritance if you're seeing. What is crisscross? For example, if you saw that in one generation the father was affected, then in the next generation from the father the disease went to the daughter. And then in the next generation from this daughter the disease went to her son. So if you see from father to daughter to son like that, so that is called as crisscross inheritance. And if this is there, then the disease is X-linked. And if this is not there, then the disease is autosomal. Clear?
Ma'am,
These
the
rules
case
and
is always father, daughter to son. The case is always like that, father, daughter to son.
no, or it could be mother. It could be from mother to son. Okay, to the daughter, like that. Daughter of this person, son of this person. Okay, so in either of the cases, it could be crisscross inheritance. For example, this one. Now, first generation has affected individuals, second generation has affected individuals, and the third generation also has affected individuals. So here you are seeing that it is dominant type because in all the generation individuals are affected. Clear? Now, if you look at it, can you tell me whether it is autosomal or whether it is this thing, sex linked?
It is autosomal
It is autosomal. How?
because every generation is affected. Like one individual is affected in every generation.
No, that is for dominant. If every individual is affected in any generation, that will tell you that it is a dominant trait. Clear? For example, if you look at this one. This is the case of autosomal dominant. Now see, in the both the generations, the individuals are affected. The traits, they are going from the mother to the son. But here the father is also involved. So you cannot say that this is X-linked. So this is dominant trait and it is autosomal. Clear? If you
Can you
look at,
repeat?
see here, both the generations have affected individuals. So first of all, this is dominant. It's not recessive. But here you cannot see a crisscross inheritance. Like the inheritance from the second generation to the third is not shown. So you cannot be sure whether this is X-linked or not, because the male and the female, both of them are affected. So this is autosomal in nature, because you can't specify whether it is crisscross inheritance or not. Clear? Now if you see this case, first of all, first generation doesn't have anyone affected. Second generation has. So is this dominant or recessive?
Recessive.
It is recessive because a generation is skipped. Now, if the male and the female parents are unaffected, but the daughter becomes affected, that doesn't mean that the male and the female were carrying that X disease, right? They might be, you can say, having the gene for it, but they are not expressing it. So this one is yet again autosomal condition. It's not happening crisscross, or it's, like all the females are not affected, all the males are also not affected. Clear? Now, the next case, this one. You only tell me what is it. First of all, tell me whether it is dominant or recessive.
I'm dominant.
Clear? Marwa, is it dominant?
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because it is passing on from one generation to the next generation.
Yes. It's like 2 generations are shown and it is present in both. Now you people have to find out whether this is X-linked or not. Is it X-linked or not?
No, it's not.
How?
Because there's no crisscross.
See, crisscross is one of the way, and the other way to find out is whether all the females or all the males will be affected. So here, the parent male is affected, and then all the female offsprings are affected. Then this is 100% X-linked. It is which kind? X-linked dominant. Clear? Okay, now tell me this one. First of all, whenever you see this pedigree, first thing you figure out whether it is dominant or recessive. Now tell me, is it dominant or recessive?
Recessive.
Recessive, right? Because only one generation has affected individuals, but both of them don't. Okay, now X-linked or not?
No, because
Because
in the first generation there is no affected.
there is no
So it's
affected
not
individuals, right?
linked.
But the males are affected, right? But they have written X-linked recessive, but I don't think this is X-linked. Why? Because first of all, the parents are not affected. Secondly, all the members of, like all the males, if had they been affected, then I would consider it as X-linked. But only 3 of them are affected and 1 is not. So we can't say that it is X-linked. We can't confirmatory say this is X-linked. Clear? Any doubts?
So the second case, it's not X-linked because only 3 of the males are affected.
There are like 4 male child, but out of them only 3 are affected. So when all the females and all the males are affected, like in this case, all the females were affected. None of them were missed out. So that was X-linked 100%. But here only 3 of the male are affected and 1 is not. So maybe this could be X-linked, but mostly it is auto. Clear?
Can you give an example of the analysis of the crisscross, like how we can find through that?
For example, okay? Now see, crisscross inheritance. For example, here the father is affected. From the affected father, you have the affected daughter. Now, from this affected daughter, you have the affected son of this daughter. So, male, like father to the daughter to her own son. This is crisscross inheritance. Now, you would say that this is X. Clear? Either you will check this crisscross inheritance or you will check whether all the males are affected, then also it would be X. Both the cases. Okay? Any doubts? No doubts. All right. Now tell me, students, which chapter shall I start next for you people?
Mom said we'll practice questions.
Hmm?
Mom said you will practice questions
Yeah,
for
we
this
will
chapter.
practice questions. Yes, we will do. But like after this particular chapter is done, which chapter do you want me to start?
Mom, we did not start the second chapter.
That is for backup class, dear. For backup class, we will do that. Aisha, why weren't you present in the backup class yesterday?
Oh, I joined early and then we left from here. Actually, I was at my cousin's house because my grandma was leaving.
Oh,
So we
I
also
was
then
like,
I could
you came
join.
early and you were like, I told you to join after 30 minutes. But she didn't join. I was like wondering, where did you go? Okay. So tell me, students, which chapter shall I start next?
We're doing reproductive health. We haven't started this chapter in school. So I
You
don't know.
haven't? The reproductive health has been done, na? With you all also.
Yeah. We did human reproduction, reproductive health, and sexual reproduction of flowering plants in school. We haven't started this one.
Okay, this chapter is
So
currently going on in your school.
no, we haven't started it. We're still doing reproductive health.
Okay, so you must be feeling it like very forward as far as the
Yeah,
reproductive health is concerned. What about
yeah.
you, Malva? Which chapter is going on in your school currently?
This chapter itself.
This is going on. Okay. All right. So there's no choice. So there is next chapter only that we can start. But before that, let us discuss some questions related to this chapter. You people have understood pedigree analysis because this is the only analytical part of the chapter. Have you understood it? Like
Yes, ma'am.
everything? Hmm. All right. Can you see the screen, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right in front of you are some MCQ questions. Now you people give me the answer one by one. So read the question. Once you're confident with your answer, tell me.
Mom, the first question answer, is it B?
Is it B?
Yes.
Yes, correct. It is B.
Ma'am, can you explain the first question? I didn't understand.
See, the first question is talking about linkage, right? Now, if you remember the topic of linkage, in linkage, we discussed that the genes that are tightly linked, Right? What is linkage? It is the physical association of genes on the chromosome, right? How tightly or how loosely it is bound. Now, if on one chromosome there are multiple genes present, so all together, since they are found on the same chromosome, then those genes will be considered as one linkage group as compared to the next chromosome. So that is what the saying, that all genes located on the same chromosome, they form one linkage group. Okay. Like it is the relationship between the genes, their location, and the chromosome. And that is what we studied in the linkage topic. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Question number 2 is the karyotype. Karyotype is the way the nucleus has the genetic material present, right? They are saying 2n plus 1, 2n minus 1, 2n plus 2, and 2n minus 2. These situations, where do you see them? In which kind of chromosomal abnormality? That is
Aneuploidy. Aneuploidy.
aneuploidy. Very good. Aneuploidy, right? This one is the example. Do you remember any disease associated with this? Hmm? Down syndrome, trisomy. This is the case of trisomy. Trisomy takes place in the Down syndrome, right? Okay, distance between the genes and the percentage of recombination. What does it show? Direct and inverse proportionality, to you people know, na? So they're talking about the distance between the genes and the recombination percentage. So what happens when the distance between the genes increases? So what happens to the percentage recombination?
It has a direct relation.
Meaning if this increases, this also increases. Right? That is why they have a direct relation. Clear? Okay. Now, if a genetic disease is transferred from phenotypically normal but carrier female to only some of the male progeny, then the disease is
Autosomal dominant. Is it?
how?
Ma'am,
Yes, Nara?
is it autosomal recessive?
Autosomal recessive.
Yes.
Okay, both of you explain your answers. Like, why do you think it is?
Because it said that it is carried on to only some of the male progeny, not
Hmm.
simultaneously.
So it is carried from them to some of the male progeny. Okay. What is your explanation, Aisha?
If it is like in the same generation from one progeny to the other, so it will be dominant, right? The disease, so it will transfer to the next
See,
generation
it
as well.
won't be dominant. Why? Because the female parent is not affected. She's the carrier. So her symbol will not be this. She will be this only. So first generation is this, and second generation, the male progeny are like, it's only affecting to some of the male progeny. Now, if you people remember, I told you that in the case of X-linked disorders, what will it be? It will be transferring to all the male progeny, right?
Oh yes,
Or
ma'am.
all the
Yes, that's
female
correct.
progeny. So first of all, it's definitely not dominant because it is not found in every generation. And thirdly, now the question comes about whether it is this particular thing, whether it is X-linked or not. But if you think about it, it is being transferred from the female to the male progeny, isn't it? So it will be X-linked but recessive disorder, isn't it? Recessive because it's not being expressed in every generation. X-linked because from female it is going to the male. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next question. In sickle cell anemia, glutamic acid is replaced by valine. Which one of the following triplet codes for valine? Okay, just you skip because genetic code no one remembers. A person having the genotype IAIB would show the blood group as AB. This is because of which phenomena?
Because in the blood group AB, they can have like they can take any blood, right?
But no, but they are asking this type of inheritance of a person having AB blood group is called as which type of inheritance is it? See, there's blood group A, there's blood group B, but in this A, B, both of them are showing and both of them are dominant. So that is codominance. Remember that ABO
Yes,
blood
ma'am.
grouping, this is an exception to the Mendelian law and this is the best example for codominance. Clear? Now the next is ZW type of sex determination. This is seen in which organism?
Some birds.
Birds. So what would be the answer? Peacock, right? You have to remember in which one you see these kinds of. Okay. A cross between two tall plants resulted in offspring having few dwarf plants. What would the genotypes of both the parents be? Now you can do it and tell me. Read the question and answer accordingly. How will you do it? You will cross all of them. Whatever options are there, you can cross them and you can find out.
Ma'am, is it the second one?
Yes, it is the second one. Both the parents are heterozygotes. That is why majority of their offsprings would be tall, but one of their offsprings, like 25% out of all, will be the dwarf. Okay, in a dihybrid cross, if you get 9:3:3:1 ratio, it denotes that, what does it denote? See, this is something, okay, one word I haven't taught. It is multigenic. Multigenic means all sorts of genotypes are there whilst the inheritance is happening. So this kind of like the dihybrid cross with this ratio, it is multigenic inheritance. Yeah.
Ma'am, is it the case where we got that red and white flower, the pink flower?
No, that was incomplete inheritance. They are talking about the normal dihybrid cross, like at the end, like just like how at the end of the monohybrid cross, the phenotypic ratio was 3:1, but in the dihybrid cross, because of the number of individuals, the phenotypic ratio comes out to be 9:3:3:1. That is right.
Ma'am, is it because the alleles are segregating?
And it's because with that little amount of chromosome, you get so many different varieties. That is clear. Okay, which of the following will not result in variation among siblings? Variation.
The genetic, the genes,
Which one? Answer?
the linkage
Linkage.
of the genes.
Okay. How?
Because in linkage, we'll not get the variations, right, among the siblings, because linked genes are happening on the same chromosomes, and they will be transmitted together.
See, if it will be tightly linked, then it will not be inherited, right? If it will not be inherited, then the difference of characters will also not show. Yeah, but apart from that, independent assortment will definitely result into variation. Mutation is the cause of variation everywhere. But when we talk about crossing over, that also leads to variation, right? The exchange of genetic material. Very good. Okay, Mendel's law of independent assortment holds good for genes situated on the situated on the
The chromosomes are different. They have different genes.
different what?
Like the genes, like different chromosomes, so like non-homologous chromosomes.
Non-homologous. Why? Because these are two different chromosomes, right? That is why
Yeah.
in them, the law of independent assortment will hold good. Okay. Occasionally, a gene may express more than one effect. What is this called? One gene, many effects. What is this phenomenon known as?
Pleiotropy.
Pleiotropy. Very good. What is the example of pleiotropy? What is the name of the disease? Starts with a P. Phenylketonuria. Okay, that is the disease that is like, it is the inheritance of which is like a pleiotropic effect. Okay, in a certain taxon of insects, some have 17 chromosomes and the others have 18 chromosomes. The 17 and 18 chromosome bearing organisms are, tell me, taxon means a group. Okay, taxa is a group. So they are saying in the taxon of insects, some of them are 17 chromosomes like they have, and some have 18. So which one have 17 and which one has 18?
And females are having 18.
Which one?
The females.
Females are having 18. Okay, which insect are they talking about? If you could imagine, so which insect is it talking about? In which insect you see two different types of individuals having different types of genotypes? Or chromosome number? Honeybees. Remember, males are haploid, females are diploid. Here it's not the case of haploid diploid. They're saying the number is different. Yes, this is the right answer, but you should know that which insect that they are referring to. Where do you see the unique case? So you see it in the case of honey, right? Okay. The inheritance pattern of a gene over generations among humans is studied by the pedigree analysis. Characters studied in the pedigree analysis, it is equivalent to which kind of trait?
Mendelian trait.
Mendelian. Could you study chromosomal disorders in this particular pedigree analysis? You can't, right? You can't study. All right. It is said that Mendel proposed the factor controlling any character is discrete and independent. His proposition was based on, how did he say what he said?
Observation that the offspring of the cross made between plants having two contrasting characters.
Without any blending, they are saying, right? And this law, factor controlling any character is discrete and independent. Which law is it talking about? Which law is it referring to? It is referring to the law of independent assortment. That law only tells us that there's no blending. So here, this would be the answer. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If two genes A and B are linked in a dihybrid cross involving these two genes, the F1 heterozygote is crossed with the homozygous recessive parent. What would be the ratio of offspring in the next generation? Do it. We're talking about dihybrid. F1 heterozygote is crossed with homozygous recessive. So homozygous recessive is this one, this one. What is the genotype that you're taking for heterozygote? Tell me. For crossing them,
Capital A, small a.
And capital B, small b. This is a heterozygote and this is a homozygous recessive. Now you cross them and you find out the this thing ratio and tell me what is the ratio.
Is it 1:1:1?
Okay, what are the possible offspring that you got?
Capital A, small a. Capital B,
Okay.
small b.
Hmm.
Capital A, small a.
Hmm.
Small b, small b.
Hmm. Meaning each of their own types, right? One of each of the types of genotypes. Yes, the answer is correct. Is it clear, Aisha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in the F2 generation of Mendelian dihybrid cross, the number of phenotypes and genotypes. The number of phenotypes and genotypes.
In the yellow and green peas, the small.
Which option? See, at the end of all of that, you got various, you can say phenotypes. You have to see what are the phenotypic expressions and what are the genotypes all in all. So when you count them, you will have the certain genotypes. First, you'll have the round and yellow, the dominant one. This is the one genotype and the one phenotype. Apart from that, there is the round and green. There's wrinkled yellow and wrinkled green. So 4 possible phenotypes are found, but the genotypes are varied. Because you see round and yellow could be this also. Like round and yellow could be possibly like this, round, yellow. Or this is also round and yellow. Isn't it? So like that. Clear? So you'd have to analyze the whole entire thing. Now, mother and father of a person with O blood group have A and B blood group respectively. what would be the genotype of both mother and father? This is a very nice question. They are saying the offspring is O blood group, right? What is the genotype of O blood group person? Small I and small I, right? Now they are saying that the mother is A blood group and father is B, but still their offspring. So here the mother, if she is heterozygous and the father is also heterozygous, so when their recessive genes will combine, the offspring would be of O blood group. So both the mother and the father, they are heterozygous,
Heterozygous.
right? Any doubts? Okay. Okay, so now you
Ma'am,
people
the
can.
children will be of different blood groups, right? Because it's heterozygous and
See, but in the question they're asking about the O blood group type. There will be also the child that is AB blood group. There will be also the child that is A blood group, like that. But they're talking about the O one. So all in all, the parents are heterozygous only, isn't it? Clear? So now after doing some of these MCQs, you might have understood how much you have learned the chapter and also how much you have understood the chapter, right? So I will also, we will do more questions as far as the MCQs are concerned so that you people will have a better habit of doing MCQs, because in MCQs, there's only one way you can make it right or one way you can make it wrong, right? That's just one tick you have to do. For that one tick, you have to analyze the whole entire topic properly. Clear? So I will make you people solve more questions. Don't worry about it. Now tell me, what is the last thing you people have written?
Codominance.
Hold on. Okay, so students, finally this chapter today gets completed. Now tell me if there's anything you people found really, really tough in this chapter, something that bothers you or something you don't like the topic of this chapter. There must be something, because when I was in class 12th, I used to hate this chapter. Hate it.
the
It was
blood
like
groups are hard.
blood group.
Yeah.
Blood group is hard or pedigree is hard? Which one?
I feel like the pedigree is more easier, not that hard.
Oh. Marwa, any topic that you still can't understand better?
On the last topic.
Pedigree. Okay, no worries. I will discuss that again for both of you. So now you write down, you were in codominance, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
blood group part, it was completed, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you can note it down.
Done.
Done, students. Shall I scroll?
Yes, no.
Done, students? Shall I scroll?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, Marwa?
Just a second, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.